Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the dankest with their ball? Welcome, everyone. This is V0LTA versus Tuskers. CSB Fozzie here, joined by Gorion.
Hey.
And we have an amazing, almost exact mirror match here. Both teams have brought their flagship Balgorns. Both teams have brought a really deadly armor comp. From Exodus, we've got the flagship Balgorn, 2 Brutix Navy issues, 2 Harbinger Navy issue, Hurricane Fleet issue, a Neros, double Purifier, Kitsune, Kruer, and they've warped in their flagship Balgorn right at 0.
Yeah, V0LTA was very aggressive with that. Tuskers, on the end, also brought their Balgorn and a Neros, Fleet Hurricane, Fleet Harbinger, 2 Navy Brutixes, Svitpol, 2 Nemesises, and a Kruer.
Yeah, this is going to be really amazing. The only difference between the 2 setups is a Kitsune and a Svitpol, but they did warp in at very different ranges. With V0LTA's flagship all the way down at 0, the Tuskers flagship pulled back at about 30 kilometers. We're going to see which one of those warp-ins does the better job. We are now 15 seconds away from the start of the match, and we are going to see almost definitely a flagship explode here, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, this is them pushing their advantage to try to get that first win out of this best of 3 here, and it's going to be critical to see what's going on, because if they either side loses this, or both, depending on what happens, it's going to be a huge handicap for the rest of the series.
All right, the match has now begun. We see the Svitpol of Hoodie Mafia diving in. He's going to try to get screening tackle on that Balgorn, and there we go. He has been successful in that. We see that the Balgorn of Suleiman already has counter webs onto Mystical Might's Balgorn, I think.
Yeah, and we also see damage already coming in for that Kitsune, but it looks like it's holding well so far.
The 2 teams are both going for a Logi trade here. Both the Neros is taking quite a lot of damage. It looks like the Tuskers and Neros of Skylar Hawk taking more damage right now. They both have lots of armor rep drones on them, but Skylar is not being held up by them. It looks like he's going to drop first, and that would be a huge lead for V0LTA if they can take out this Neros faster.
Yeah, I mean, this is this early in the match. Logi really manifests its ability to.
And there we go.
Yep,
The Neros of Skyhawk is down. Starfleet Commander is dropping as well, but he is dropping much slower. Every second he can stay alive gives V0LTA that really crucial lead in taking down the next ship.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, Logi makes its presence known by staying alive as long as possible. But if you remove it quickly, I mean, look right now. The Fleet Hurricane by Anuka is already in deep armor and falling rapidly.
There you go. Starfleet Commander is down. The 2 sides have now traded. We got the Kitsune that dropped off really quickly. Probably got sniped by those railguns and beams. It's interesting that we saw the Fleet Hurricane as the next primary for V0LTA, while Tuskers has switched right onto the small ships, it looks like.
Yeah,
trying to take down the Kitsune and now going after a Purifier.
Yeah, we saw that Nemesis go down on the Tusker side. There's a lot of DPS out of that frigate. And then we'd see another Purifier going down on V0LTA. I mean, as soon as this Logi went down, it's just a bloodbath. They're trading ships left to right.
I really like the choice of the bombers here as the primary. Picking off the Kitsune, picking off the bombers really fast. It's something that these long-range battle cruisers do a really great job of, and they've already got them off the field. This Svitpol that the Tuskers has is actually going to be pretty important as the fight goes on, because he's going to be able to allow them to tackle down targets. Once those cruisers are gone, it's going to be the last small tackle on the field.
Well, I don't know how much he's doing well tackling right now, because he's Newt and Nos, presumably by one of the flagship Balgorns here, or a Kruer. But you know, we're seeing a lot of damage off the field already from V0LTA with those 2 Purifiers gone, but they've still got that advantage with one of the, all 4 of their Navy battle cruisers still.
Yeah, there you go. The last tackle frig down for V0LTA, but meanwhile the Tuskers is about to lose a Navy Harbinger, and that's going to leave them with half of their Navy battle cruisers gone. That's a lot of their DPS off the field.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really bad news here. I mean, 2 Navy Brutixes and a Balgorn is just not nearly able to keep up with a Balgorn and 4 Navy battlecruisers on the other side. I mean, they've got that Svitpol and the Kruer, but you know, this is just a slugfest now. No Logi on both sides, so it's whoever can cause the most damage as quick as possible. I mean, as you can see, Electronicus already in structure.
So there's a big swarm of armor rep drones that are keeping Kali there in the Navy Harbinger for V0LTA alive. The Balgorn of Suleiman is charging towards him. He's probably got smart bombs fitted in his highs. There we go. That's a smart bomb going off on your screen there. And now he's clearing off those rep drones. That's going to allow them to get the kill on that Harbinger, but I think it's too little too late at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's also one thing that we changed to the UI this week is that we added the drones to the UI to show armor reps and shield reps, and definitely agree, a little too late, because all 4 of those Navy battlecruisers are still there with the Balgorn, and we're down to what, 1 Navy battlecruiser here on the Tusker side. I mean, it's really looking dim.
Those killing of the drones happening too late there. It's really important to have lots of smart bombs on teams like this to be able to kill off these drones, and it looks like the Tuskers just weren't able to do it in time. They're about to lose their last Navy Brutix. That's going to leave them with only a Sweeple, a Kruger, and their flagship Balgorn. And it looks like Volt is not only going to take the lead in this best-of-3 series, but it looks like they're also going to kill the flagship of the Tuskers, leaving them and Pandemic Legion as the only 2 teams with flagships.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a huge advantage in these best-of-3 series. I mean, as you can see, Kali Ohaya is tanking as long as they can in that Purity of the Throne white skin. Most of the ship's on fire. I mean, the drones are swarming around it, but I don't see anything coming close to it to blast off those smart bombs. So it looks like it's keeping them up pretty well at this point.
No, I think at this point, so Suleiman's actually not approaching anymore. He is trying to keep range. My guess is that he's actually going to see if he can survive the 6 minutes. It's a long shot, but it's worth a try. He's heading towards, just away from everyone else, so towards the edge of the arena, trying to get some range. He's got the webs to be able to screen off some of this damage. If he can kill the Harbinger, and if he has a strong local tank, it's, again, seems like a long shot, but might be possible, and it would be pretty amazing for the rest of this series if he can pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, he's burning straight for one of the micro jump units, so we'll see if he's going to try something like we've seen in the last couple of days where they're trying to bounce the other side of the arena. Hopefully he takes a little bit more nuanced angle and doesn't accidentally roll out of the arena like a banana peel. So
it's also possible that he could just launch himself out of the arena to deny the loot.
That is also
from his flagship. For anyone that's not familiar, flagships are the only ships in these tournaments that are allowed to fit the most expensive and powerful modules in the game.
Yeah.
Generally, we don't allow the most expensive modules to keep the playing field a little bit more even, but every team is allowed to submit 1 flagship battleship that can fit these special, more powerful modules. But if you lose the flagship, you can't bring it back again for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very important ship. The ship also gets to dodge bans, even if, for instance, Balgorn was banned in this, which it wasn't, but if it was, then these teams would still have been able to bring these Balgorns because they're flagships. But losing that is huge, both for the cost of it, but also just for the lack of flexibility you have later on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a loot pinata covered in officer equipment. You get that ability to dodge bans. It's a huge tool to have at your disposal. And he's definitely going to try. I mean, but there's still 4 minutes left. I mean, there's a lot of damage still on the field with those 4 Navy cruisers and the other Balgorn. And the Suleiman's webbed and neuted right now, probably by the other Balgorn. Let's see what he's going to do to try and see if he can preserve.
Suleiman is surrounded by these battle cruisers. Of course, they are long-range fits, so they didn't need to get all that close to him. He actually, some of them might be getting so close, they may have trouble tracking even a ship as large as him. They're going to need to pull a little bit of range, I think, to be able to hit for full damage. But one thing to note is that they don't have a scram on him.
He's micro-jumping to the other end of the field.
So that is going to allow him. Now, what they could do is bump him out. When someone is micro-jumping, you can bump them to cause them to change the direction of their micro-jump. We'll see if they are able to pull that off.
Nope, he is able to escape. So I imagine he's probably burning to the next closest beacon.
So he has to survive for 3 minutes. One of the things that these flagships can fit is they're allowed to fit the dead space armor repairers, up to 2 armor repairers or up to 1 shield booster. In this case, it's going to be armor tanks. So we can have 2 very strong local armor repairers to keep itself alive. And it is possible. It's going to be amazing if he can pull this off. This is Suleiman Shua, the captain for the Tuskers, a very good pilot. He is by himself with 5 enemies trying to stay alive in this arena for 3 minutes. This is going to be incredible if he can pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, the thing we can see here is I'm checking out his ship. That doesn't look like he has any weapons fitted at all. So this is a full new control setup for this ship.
He does have some damaged drones in space, but they're not going to
I mean, it's negligible. So he's burning, again, straight for another micro jump unit. So he's just going to probably play keep away as long as he can here.
If you can keep this alive, then they can bring it back later on in this same series, which is going to be huge.
Yeah.
If this Balgorn dies here, if the Tuskers Balgorn dies, then Volt is going to have the option of banning Balgorn in the next match, and then they'd be able to bring their flagship, but the Tuskers wouldn't be able to bring a Balgorn themselves.
Yeah.
There's a lot of real strong tactical possibilities that are left open if you have your flagship available. And less than 2 minutes left, I think he may do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the critical. Even though the Navy battle cruisers are long range fit, it's still giving him at least a reprieve of some kind, so that he can reload any kind of tank that he has, or get some cap back.
Really importantly, it gets him out of range of the other Balgorn's newts.
Yeah, and he looks like he's been webbed again by the other Balgorn. Balgorn.
So these battle cruisers have webs. We're seeing webs applied to Suleiman, but they don't have a scrambler. The reason that's really important is a scrambler would prevent you from using these micro jump drives. These are beacons that are placed around. There's 9 of them spread around the arena. Any ship can use them to launch themselves 100 kilometers. They bounced him, but he hadn't activated the booster yet. Thankfully for him. They allow you to teleport 100 kilometers in the direction you're facing. They're very risky. We've seen teams launch themselves out of the arena, which causes you to get destroyed with them. They're very easy to mess up, but they're also very powerful, as we're seeing. He's using it. There you go. We're seeing Suleiman jump again.
Oh, he looks like he's pointing down out of the arena.
This is bad. I think he's going to launch himself out of the arena here. I think he's decided he can't survive and is just going to try to launch himself out to deny the loot. That is... No,
he's
stayed
close,
in.
Really close.
He just jumped to 97 kilometers from the center of the beacon. And unlike the PL Phobos earlier yesterday, he is slow enough that he's not going to coast the last little bit out.
Yeah.
He only has to survive for 30 more seconds. I think he's going to do it.
I think
Suleiman
he's definitely pulled it off.
Solo PvPing the Alliance tournament to keep this Balgorn alive.
Yeah, you just hang on for dear life, trying to minimize the bleeding by keeping their flagship still as an option. That's
really impressive piloting here.
Piloting.
Now, we shouldn't take anything away from V0LTA. V0LTA have won this match. They won it in very convincing fashion, and that's going to put them up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series. Really huge win for V0LTA. Great job for them, but also congratulations to Suleiman, who's managed to keep that flagship alive. Good job to him.
That sheep will survive another day.
Yep, and to hopefully fight later today. And we'll send it back to the guys on the desk.
Suleiman the Shepherd able to keep his flagship from becoming Sunday Roast, however unable to keep V0LTA from advancing one game in this best-of-3 series. The Tuskers now face an uphill battle if they want to continue into the finals of Alliance Tournament 14. Chesser, moderator, tell us what we saw.
I saw a lot of interesting plays there. Just pointing, of course, back to V0LTA having a really nice mechanical background. Starfleet Commander doing really well in his own arrows to stay alive longer than V0LTA's. And I think a big part of that had to do with the fact that V0LTA made the decision to drop their flagship Balgorn at 0, which allows it to immediately get webs over to Tuskers Logi, which meant that V0LTA could do 2 things. The first is that once you have the double webs on the Logi, it's very, very easy to take full damage to apply full damage to the Logi. So they killed Tuskers Logi much faster. With that extra time that ganged them, while Starfleet Commander was doing everything he could to stay alive against V0LTA's damage, they decided to take out a Fleet Hurricane instead of killing the instead of killing the stealth bombers or the support wing of Tuskers. And I think that's a really smart call, because with this extra time that they've been given, they take off a Navy battlecruiser and they take off a set of rep drones, which really helped out V0LTA in the long run, keeping their 4 Navy battlecruisers alive with the 20 light drones that they could be fielding, or 15 to help the one that's being damaged, because you can't armor rep yourself with your own armor rep bots. But I think that was a really, really nice play, because then when you saw them eventually start trading, tit for tat there, the V0LTA team moved over to Tuskers support wing, then started picking it off, and Tuskers was a Navy battlecruiser behind picking off support wing, and it really, I think, pushed their advantage that they had with probably only 10 to 20 seconds difference in Logi kills to just overwhelming odds near the end of it. What did you take away from it, moderator?
So what I took away is that the initial Logi trade was what catapulted V0LTA to the early lead. The additional fact that they appeared to have guns onto their Balgorn, you could see much of a stronger control bar on Tusker's side. If you look at the gun models closely on that Balgorn, it was a full Newt, full NOS, at least in that configuration. So the added damage, it's only maybe about 400 damage or so with Scorch, but that combined with the initial fact that they got the Logi kill earlier allowed them to get earlier timings on to the enemy Navy battlecruisers. Once you break enough of those Navy battlecruisers, like Chester was saying, you can swarm the Repbots on top of your ships, and even though Tuskers had a Spiteful instead of that Kitsune, it wasn't enough to trade, and Volta just got out ahead, and really they out-executed Tuskers in this matchup.
Let's take a look at the damage that came down on either side with our post-match synopsis here. We can see on the Tusker side that Balgorn able to survive despite taking a significant chunk of 1/4 really of the damage that was delivered by We4M Volta total, but not enough to bring Tuskers forward. We4M Volta getting a lot of mileage out of those battlecruisers, that battlecruiser core.
I definitely agree with that. I think I agree with moderator's assessment that Volta, near the end of it, I think choosing to warp their Balgorn in at 0 basically is what allowed them to just kind of catapult their way to getting a win here. That being said, though, Tuskers has incredible piloting. I mean, the forethought that Suleiman had to put into keeping that Balgorn alive for those minutes against flagship Balgorn and then 4 Navy battlecruisers, which are providing links as well. Very, very well played. You can see the time that he hugged that second beacon, literally just sitting there, biding his time, waiting till he was very, very low, jumping right when he needed to, right when he was breaking down underneath the flagship Balgorn, you know, bearing down on him with the newts and the nos, and then just right at the edge of the arena.
Do you think that was a skill shot, a skill jump, or do you think he was trying to habit it out?
No, I think that when you're talking about someone of like Suleiman's piloting, you know, cojones, piloting ability, he definitely was calculating that. He definitely wasn't trying to jump out. If he wanted to jump out, he definitely could have, because he was over in the bottom corner. He could have pointed straight down and killed himself, but he went, you know, diagonally over to the side over here. You know, a pilot like that, unless he was bumped, wouldn't really make that mistake. I've flown with Suleiman. I've watched him play a lot. He's mechanically extremely proficient. So
yeah, it was a very calculated play by Suleiman. He realizes that if they're going to go up into the winners final right against Pandemic Legion, they need that flag Balgorn if they want to have any chance, especially down a match. So they need their flagship to counter Peel's flagship in that grand final series if they can make it. And Volta need to as well keep theirs, I think, if they want to beat them. So Volta here going up into the next match, they want to try to close this out 2-0, keep their flagship Balgorn alive, and go into that grand finals with that in their back pocket.
Well, the full flock of flag sheep are still available to the teams in this best-of-3 match. They'll have a bit of time here. The next match of this best-of-3 set to kick off at 15:30. We've got a bit of time. We're going to comment a little bit more on the match we just saw and what we expect to see, and of course what we expect to see later this afternoon. Before that, a few quick announcements reminding anyone who's interested in getting out of the house and checking out the action here on the AT. There are meetups happening around the globe right now at various public establishments. So check out evemeet.com. Some that I know of for sure include Phoenix, Arizona, Birmingham, England, and Toronto, Ontario. So if you're looking to meet up with some other EVE players and check out the action of the finals, stop by those locations. And of course, check out evemeet.net for more information on other EVE meets in your area, both today and in the future. We do have, of course, some major events coming in November. EVE London on the 5th, EVE Amsterdam on the 12th and 13th, and EVE Down Under the 25th, 26th, and 27th of November. All of those meets will feature developer presence, I believe, and I personally will be attending EVE Down Under. I know that you guys are probably not going to make that. Maybe both of you going to Vegas this year.
I will not be there.
But
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the thing. EVE Vegas, of course, the other major event coming up, that October 28th, 29th, and 30th, happening in Las Vegas, Nevada. Rooms are available. Stop by rooms.evevegas.com, I believe, and check out that, or just go to the EVE website and you'll be able to see what you can do. And help me get moderator there. I think that moderator needs to attend. I think that you want to see him. Speak up in Twitch, speak up on Twitter, write your congressperson and or MP or party chair. I don't know what other governments we endorse. I don't know if we endorse any. I don't think we endorse. We endorse no official governments. Didn't the president of Iceland speak at FanFest? Either way, help me get moderator to EVE Vegas. Again, happening the 28th, 29th, and 30th of October. If you can't make it there, make it to Twitch, where you can tune into the 07 show. They will be live streaming from the event all 3 days. Also on the 28th, there's something... I've got it. Pew for Reps and Broadcast for Reps are having events on the 28th of October. That's something that if you're not interested in following the stream of EVE Vegas, you can certainly tune into or participate in. I believe Joseph Barnacle, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong there, and a personal friend of mine, Glasgow Dunlop, may be involved. Glasgow Dunlop, head of the Glasgow EVE Meet series, which happens, I think, every 3 months in Glasgow in Scotland. If you're in the Deer Green place, which is very near and dear to my heart, stop by the Hillhead Book Club. That's usually where they form up in their staging system. Gentlemen, obviously, Chester, you will be attending EVE Vegas for the Valkyrie tournament.